Make good choices. You must keep in mind and do what the smartest guys in the room are doing for themselves. They're buying gold. I'm buying gold. I've been studying this on some level since I was 10 years old. Frankly, you need to be holding it, owning it, and buying it too. Forget what the price says. It's a bargain. Take advantage, just like these central banks are. Doing the same thing over and over and over again, even though you keep getting the same results. Well, that's the definition of insanity, and yet our government and our central banks keep doing it. You want to go down with the ship? If you don't, get physical gold and silver in your possession. Because the question is, really, how is this going to affect those Fed policies? With all of this new inflationary impetus coming in, are they going to get more aggressive with raising rates because they are battling for their credibility? And are you going to be caught in the crossfire because they manipulate the price of gold so that you think, it's not doing anything? It's doing everything. It's your wealth insurance. So here what they're telling you is they really can't fight the inflation. All they can do is lower demand by increasing interest rates, which means all those corporations that have all of that debt that they have to service, and they're going to be rolling that debt over into higher interest levels, well, they're going to have to lay people off. It's been quite interesting because on the one hand, we're seeing lots of layoffs, particularly in the real estate sector and the technology sector, but at the same time, you walk down Main Street and what do you see? Help wanted, help wanted, help wanted. So we're in an extraordinarily interesting period because we're at the end of this currency's life cycle. I mean, it truly is as simple as that. But I want you to really keep this in mind because this is one of the things that makes it precarious. And I've told you this so many times, but it's really simple. There's only one way to fight inflation, and that's with deflation. And conversely, there's only one way to fight deflation, and that's with inflation. So for since the 80s, since we started this transition into the current debt-based system, that's really what the central banks have been fighting, has been deflation, right? When the stock markets implode, when the real estate markets implode, when the bond markets, that is all deflationary. So what do? They drop interest rates, they inspire borrowing and spending, they inspire inflation. But they're out of tools. So that's why you have all these dichotomies going on, because we are at the very end. That's why you see all this really unique behavior. Look, 2008, the system died. I've been saying it since 2008. All they did was print a whole bunch of free money, give it to Wall Street and corporations so that they could reflate. I mean, go back, the reflation trade, reflate these assets. So over all those years in the Federal Reserve and the central banks are saying, we just can't hit our 2% target. Darn it. Well, we knew once they went to an average that inflation was on its way, because that inflation was held in the markets. That's where it was held, quite simply. So they gave their credibility away when they went against their forward guidance. And forward guidance, letting Wall Street, letting the banks know what they were going to be doing, was a key tool that they gave themselves in 2008 when the system died. So they kept saying 50 basis point, 50 basis point, 50 base, and then they did 75. So now really what's happening is they are struggling to get their credibility back because they have absolutely lost control of inflation. Even they are telling you, they cannot tell you what they're going to do because they don't know. So that means that Wall Street is flying blind. It's kind of like this bridge in a hurricane. It swings back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until it just collapses. And that's really where we are. Wall Street's trust in the Fed is being tested right now. When they gave away that forward guidance, which I was amazed that they were willing to give up such a valuable tool. You know, they know it's being tested. And what we know is this. They no longer have the bank-to-bank confidence that was lost with interbank trading in 2008. 2015, with the Swiss surprise, central bank to central bank confidence was lost. Wall Street's confidence is lost. They are fighting to regain control. And that means, you know, when somebody's fighting, it's kind of like somebody, I'm out in a boat and I see somebody that's drowning. I better stay in my boat and throw them a lifeline, because if I jump in the water to try and save them, because they're so panicked, they will probably take me down with them. Is the Fed going to take us down with them? They certainly could. Once confidence is lost, systemic collapse is probable. Actually, systemic collapse is unavoidable once the public loses that confidence. Don't let them take you down with it. That's what gold is your lifeline. Physical, in your possession. That's your lifeline. That can save you from a Fed that is bent on taking you down with it. But here's the thing that I think is really, really interesting. At the same time that the Fed is doing all of this, well, our government just passed the Inflation Reduction Act, and always beware of any title, because whatever that says, it's probably just the opposite. Do you see the problem? You're starting to see the problem? Because in this bill, they're spending $437 billion. That's all new money. That's new money. They expected to reduce the deficit by raising taxes. They're putting in price caps. They're forcing tax compliance. So, you know, they always say, well, this is going to be paid for by this and that and the other thing. I don't know. Is that true? It's easy to spend other people's money. This is taxpayer money. This is taxpayer money. Because when you reduce the deficits, what that really means is that you are not only spending all of the taxpayer money that comes in, but ever so much more. We are running out of time. We have entered another dangerous phase. Anything can happen. And don't forget too, because you got to have food, water, energy, security, as well as barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter.